Ah, Street Fighter 2, the cherished fighting sub-series by Capcom. From the endless Hadoken spamming to the two guys at the beginning who never actually appeared in the game, this collection of games just oozes classic. Who in the right mind would have the emptiness in their soul to not enjoy them? This guy! Okay, let me reiterate. I love me some good old Street Fighter 2, particularly the very first one in the series, the World Warrior, and particularly the Super Nintendo version. Yeah, say what you will. I know you can't play as the bosses on World Warrior in the Super Nintendo version, it's just a mere port of the arcade original, but hey, you can't beat those sound effects. So, as much as I love the Super Nintendo game, you'd figure I would have jumped all over it when it hit the Wii Virtual Console. However, I instead opted for the version that I'd never played before in my life. Super Street Fighter 2, The New Challengers. Hey, it's got the bosses and 4 new playable characters. However, the transaction I made that day will not be soon forgotten, and it will haunt me till the day I die. Before we begin, let me state that this is merely my opinion, so don't take it as fact and hunt me down or anything. Okay, let's delve into this. I'm just going to compare the two SNES games for now. The opening for Super Street Fighter 2 is pretty cool, and I would take it over the opening for the World Warrior any day. Admittedly though, Ryu does look kind of funny bouncing around like that. The graphics just got that look to them. Let's see here, I guess I'll just start off with the graphics. There's nothing particularly wrong with the graphics on here, but to me the characters look a little scrunched up and smaller than they did on World Warrior. I also prefer the character select screen for World Warrior, although the new challengers got it right by improving the portraits from Champion Edition and Hyper Fighting, which in my opinion look utterly atrocious compared to World Warrior's. Other than that, the graphics are equal to me, although Cammy looks like she has Pinocchio's nose. Now let's go on to the music and audio. Not only did the new characters get themes of their own, but each of the original 12 fighters had their themes remixed. Whether one thinks the themes turned out better or worse is up to personal taste. I must admit that the remixes aren't bad at all. You can tell that Capcom was trying to recreate the themes from the arcade versions as accurately as possible. Nothing wrong here. Audio, on the other hand, I prefer World Warrior. Let's list off some things I like less on the new challengers. 1. The announcer. What happened to the awesome deep-voiced guy from World Warrior? Now we got the scrawny-sounding individual, which according to a similar-minded Game FAQs reviewer, a voice reminiscent of Big Bird.
Mexico, India, Hong Kong, you win, you lose.
2nd, the hit sound effects. Like the music, I'm sure Capcom was going for arcade accuracy. Maybe I'm weird, but I always found the SNES World Warrior to have the best hit sound effects. But I think the hit sounds on here are better than on World Warrior for the arcade. 3rd and finally, some of the voices I found in Super Street Fighter 2 were absolutely cringe-worthy. While I do give them props for individualizing the characters further, some of them have not changed for the better. Take Guile, for instance. No one can take a Sonic Boom seriously with a voice like that. And Blanca, some of his squawks and grunts sound just odd to me. So that's that. Gameplay wise, it's the same old SF2 action we're used to. Quarter circle forward punch, quarter circle back kick, all that good stuff. Nothing wrong there. Difficulty, here we come. I'm just going to get this out of the way. I'm not what you call a great Street Fighter 2 player. Decent, yes. Great, not so much. So, it shouldn't be surprising to hear that I have come many a times close to throwing the controller into the TV in a fit of rage. If not that, I simply quit in frustration. Playing World Warrior, I seem to have quit in anger less than I have the new challengers. While Vega was my arch nemesis in the former, I seem to get stuck at Cammy, T-Hawk, or DJ in the latter. Vega has a reason to be teeth-grindingly difficult. He's a boss. Cammy, DJ, and T-Hawk aren't. Something ain't right here. Final verdict? Although there's nothing wrong with Super Street Fighter 2, I just like Street Fighter 2 better. Blinded my nostalgia? Possibly. But hey, I'm entitled to my opinion. But I ain't done yet. There is a game that I purchased on my PlayStation 3 that I regret even more so than Super Street Fighter 2. You want to know what that is? Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix. think that I would learn from my previous investment that further down the SF2 series I go, the less I like them. But no, I'm a silly boy. I don't remember how much this atrocity cost me, but I can assure you it was that amount too much. So let's go through and list off why I hate this game. Well, if you have any ears left to hear me rant, that is. Visuals. As if the name didn't give it away, this version of Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo features remade hand-drawn characters and backgrounds. While it sounds good, it results in extremely choppy animations, resulting from the decision to keep it authentic by not risking any extra frames. However, I find that a rather poor excuse considering they could probably just half the time for each frame to compensate for one extra frame of animation. But I don't even think that could save the way this game looks. I honestly find the HD graphics to be repulsive. To me, the fighters look like grossly muscular He-Mans than anything else. Poor Blanca, what did they do to you? The backgrounds don't look as bad, but they give off more of a meh vibe than an impressed one. Well, thank God you can switch to classic visuals, right? Wrong! The only thing that gets this filter is the characters themselves, not the backgrounds. That is pathetic. Next off, sound and audio. The guys over at Overclocked Remix were the composers of this game, and not to be hating or nothing, but I didn't find any of these remixes of the same quality of what I typically hear from them. Unfortunately, I found this soundtrack to not be memorable in the slightest. Fortunately, they provided us with the option to have the classic music play instead. Audio, as with the new challengers, is not my favorite amalgam of noises ever put in a game. We still got the non-SNES World Warrior hit sounds, the sometimes goofy sounding voices, and most of the other nitpicks I listed earlier. Gameplay is slightly different this time as this game features the inclusion of super moves. I can never get them to work, except usually on accident, to which the move is pretty much wasted. That's probably my fault. Finally, the difficulty. Somebody always ends up kicking my arse. Like I mentioned a few seconds ago, I suck at doing supers on here, and when the AI can pull them off in a fantastic succession, that makes an already disadvantaged me even more screwed. Here's a stunning revelation. I've never beaten this game. I simply can't stand being beaten time and time and time again. That, and I simply lack the patience for it. I only get further pissed off when I'm either about to win and they screw me out of a victory or just cut the crap and annihilate me on the spot. I just suck at this game and I find it much more difficult than the others. Given the choice, I would definitely go with Super Street Fighter 2 for the Super Nintendo. But that's like either having a classic college canceled and having to write a 10-page paper anyways, or just going to the class. It's more of a pick your poison kind of deal, and that's why I consider these to be regretful purchases.